this is like, wham, grad is now here. It is so here. There is so much to be thinking and getting prepared for, and that's what this assembly is about. But before we move into that, our first presentation will be Ms. Chapman's going to come on up, and this is such an important piece with respect to community. And as you turn the calendar and get into your 17th year and plus, we really want you to be a part of community, and this is why.
Hey, how about a round of applause?
Thank you, Mr. Rector. All right, welcome to Grad 2022, it's exciting. So a couple of things. It's been a couple of years since we've been able to host Canadian Blood Services at the school, but you might have remembered in your grade 9, grade 10 year that they came to the school and we actually had students and staff donating. We were set up in the Learning Commons or in the small gym. Because of COVID restrictions, we weren't able to do that the past couple of years and we weren't able to schedule it this year. But we have set aside a number of dates in May and June where students that are 17 years or older can sign up and donate blood, and then it goes through under the Claremont Young Blood for Life program, and I can track the number of donations that we make. Okay, so if we want to go to our next slide here. So why do we want people to donate blood? Okay, people you probably know somebody within your family that has undergone a traumatic event, either through an accident, through a cancer diagnosis, through an autoimmune diagnosis, through a surgery that has used blood products. Over half of you will probably use blood products sometime within your life, and only 4% of eligible donors in Canada actually donate. So we want to make sure that if you start donating earlier, there's a much higher chance that you will continue through your lifetime of donating blood and helping people within your community. Okay, next one. And this, I pulled this off the Canadian Blood Services website last night. That's our blood supply for Canada right now. So our supply, that's great.
My apologies. Where's my clicker? There you go.
There we go. So we only have a 4-day supply of O-negative blood. If you're in a traumatic event and you end up in the emergency room, the first thing they're going to do, and you hear it in movies and TV shows all the time, hang a unit of O-neg, and then they type and cross, which means they'll give you O-negative blood because everybody can accept O-negative blood, and then they will figure out what blood type you are, and then they will give you type-specific blood. Okay, so even if you're unconscious, even if there's a traumatic event, you can still obtain these blood products, but we only have a 4-day supply of it. So we need people donating continuously, especially there's always a lull after long weekends because the blood services closes for a couple of days and they don't have donors. So we want to keep making sure that we're continually donating. Who can donate blood? You need to be 17 years or older. You do not need parental permission by Canadian Blood Services. We'll get to the school board part of that in a minute. You cannot have had a piercing or tattoo in the last 3 months. No dental work the day before or 3 days before if it was major dental work. There are some travel restrictions for based on COVID stuff outside of the country for the last 14 days. If you traveled in spring break, try and make a donation later in June. And there's also a couple of areas due to malaria risk. So if you traveled to a few places, you can come and see me and we can see if that was a malaria risk. There's a couple of provinces in Mexico that have a longer deferral process. There are height and weight restrictions for people that are under 23 years old. So they don't take a smaller amount of blood from a smaller stature person. So oftentimes when you're younger, especially for females, if it's a smaller body mass, then they will then defer you until you're 23. So there's a few kind of initial requirements we have to meet before we can make an appointment. Other common questions. COVID vaccination doesn't matter. You can have it. You can not have it. There's no requirement for Canadian Blood Services. Most common teenage medications you're still able to donate. Just make sure you know your medication and you know the dosage of it. If you have any questions, you can come to my classroom and we can call the nurse line if you have a specific concern or question about that. You don't have to know your blood type, but you will find out your blood type, not on the day of, but after a few days of them processing your blood, it will then show up in the app for you. So in terms of the time commitment, it's about an hour, maybe an hour and a half the travel time. The actual donation process where they're taking the blood from you can take between 5 and 15 minutes depending on your body. They take about 450 5 milliliters of blood, which is about 1/9 of your body's blood volume, and you immediately start to regenerate that. And within a couple of days, your blood volume is already back up to normal. In terms of recovery, no strenuous activity that night, so no sports practices. Don't go to work out that night. Don't go and help somebody move stuff that night. So you often feel a little bit tired. And then Canadian Blood Services does a really good job of making sure you know any other possible risks or concerns that would happen after the blood donation. So you will see these posters around the school, and it used to be that I would sign up students individually and keep track of names and remind you about your appointments. Technology has allowed you to make these appointments on your own. There are appointments that are set aside for Claremont students, so you scan that link there. It will then take you to a quick little eligibility quiz to make sure that you meet the basic requirements so that we're not taking up a spot and they know that you're going to be deferred because you had a piercing last month because you've traveled in the last few days from your appointment. Where? There's the app, the Give Blood app. It's very easy to use. And then once you put in the YBFL008673 number, which is on the posters around, that will then link you to the Claremont donation times so that you can then sign up with a friend. There's 4 spots on each of the days, and it will work through there. So you pick your own time and your own date. The thing is with that, I don't have control of when you are signing up unless you come to my classroom and do it with me. But you need to come and see me to get a permission form. Because you'll be leaving school early and you're leaving from school, you have to have a field trip form signed by your parents and returned to me to let you leave early that day. If you choose on your own to make an appointment outside of these times because they don't work for you, then and you go on your own, that's up to you and you don't need a form. But any of these ones, you will need to return a permission form for me. Next. So it's Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. 3:15 is the appointment time. A taxi picks you up and the other 3 people that are donating with you out front of the school. The taxi takes you down to Canadian Blood Services, which is down across from Uptown by McDonald's, and you will make your donation with the people that are there. Canadian Blood Services will go through all the protocols with you, and then you can either get a taxi back to the school and then head home, or you can have a parent or pick you up or take the bus home from Canadian Blood Services. You're not allowed to drive yourself down there because then it's a school field trip with student drivers, and I'm not going down all that paperwork. So you must bring this back to me. So on the day of your donation, what you're going to do is you are going to come and find me, and I'm going to give you a salty snack and a bottle of water. Okay. And then I'm going to do a quick COVID pre-screening just to make sure that you're not going to get stopped at the door because of some issue. You must bring your some ID with you. They will ask for that. And if you don't have other ID, a student card with your picture on it is fine. Leave your class a few minutes early, 5 to 3. Come down, meet out front at 3 o'clock. Taxi will take you down there. You don't need to pay for the taxi. Canadian Blood Services pays for it. Once you get to the parking lot, you're going to eat your salty snack and you're going to drink your water. And they have found that there's less adverse reactions, so feeling sick, fainting from the blood donation if you eat a salty snack and drink water just before you donate. And it's based on science. So you eat your salty snack, salt goes into your bloodstream, okay, so all biology and chemistry people. Then you drink your water, and what does water follow in your body bloodstream? Salt. So that's the output, yes. So once you eat the salty snack, the salt heads into your bloodstream, which then the water follows into the bloodstream, which then helps you to be hydrated, okay, and helps you to have fewer adverse reactions. You have to eat them outside because if they've taken all their eating based on COVID outside. So you eat that right before the parking lot, head in there, make your donation. Inside there, they'll check your ID. They will go through and confirm your identity. You will complete a questionnaire with a number of questions, some of them very interesting questions. They do a temperature and a hemoglobin check, so they'll prick your finger and they'll check your hemoglobin, which reflects your iron level. So sometimes people get deferred based on those because your hemoglobin level isn't high enough. Make your donation. You'll wait for about 10 minutes in their recovery. Then they'll take the snacks that they will give you, which will be juice, cookies, things like that. That's when I get to eat my Oreos and Fudgios. Take your snacks outside, eat your snacks, and then you will be then either the Canadian Blood Services will call a taxi to bring you back to the school, or a parent will pick you up, or you can take the bus home. So if you have any questions at all, happy to answer them now. If they're a big general question, if you have very specific questions or concerns, come find me in room 136, and then happy to answer those. No, Canadian Blood Services pays for it. It's just on an account, so you don't even need any money or anything for that. Any other big general questions? All right, thank you, and I hope you start to sign up and come see me.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce. I'll get this set up.
Thanks so much, Mrs. Chapman. Yes, please do see her. Please do see her if you have any questions. Okay, that was very informative. I learned something new every time I hear her speak about this. Okay, this next little presentation, we want you to hear from Nimran and from Parker. They're going to come on up and just share a little bit of information about something that's always a bit of a concern and always a challenge here at Claremont. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Nimrith,
And I'm Parker.
and we're going to give you a presentation on a couple of things. We're going to start with an update about recycling at Claremont. Then we're going to move on to talk about some clubs that offer volunteer hours, and finish with a vote about the grad cover page in the yearbook.
So, how much garbage are we producing? You know, why are we still doing this? The short answer is these 4 images: contamination, 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 and overflow. The long answer is that 2 years ago, Claremont was sending 2 dumpsters of garbage a week to Heartland. For reference, these guys are almost as big as I am. Nimrith, do you want to click the slide there? Perfect. One more time. You got it. 2 years ago, we were so bad at sorting our recycling that we were known as Heartland High. The fact that the title existed in any capacity and that it belonged to us was something we wanted to change. It was something we knew that we could change, because recycling is not a threat, it is a challenge. And if we work together, staff, students, as a community, undeniably we can rise to meet it. If we can be so passionate and successful in athletics, in volunteerism, in acts of service and fundraising, why can't we be just as good at recycling? That was a question we asked 2 years ago. And though we may not have an answer, we do have progress. These 2 dumpsters that we were sending to Heartland per week, that's now 1.
And our passion for this project can be attributed to our time in Key Club, which is a volunteer-based club at the school. Each Friday after school, a group of students from the club would get together and we would sort through the returnables, so like the bottles, cans, and juice boxes. And we would end up pulling out lots of garbage, and we'd find things like plastic, string, and without fail, every week, at least 1 can of condensed milk. Don't know where that came from. And when we finished, we'd end up with a massive pile of garbage, and it felt like we were salvaging more than sorting. And we knew that the other bins, the foil, the soft plastic, and the hard plastic, were also in this condition after talking to Harry, the custodian. And after seeing just how contaminated the recycling bins were, we were concerned that we might start producing 2 bins of garbage again per week. And so what have we done to reduce the amount of garbage? Well, a few things. But one of our main short-term goals was focusing on the appearance and convenience of the recycling stations around the school, making sure that each one had a paper recycling bin, a garbage, and eventually a compost. And on the appearance of the recycling stations, you might have also noticed the new signs in them. We changed the signs in the stations to help them look a little bit more clean and minimalistic. But changing the signs isn't all that we had to consider.
Perfect. Oh yeah, here's Nimrith putting in the signs too. We had to crown them in and then bang them, and we were thinking of using a hammer, but another story. So the composts, by now, some of you may be wondering, Parker, what's up with them? Where are they? And until last week, they were harder to find than Waldo in the picture books, right? But they were removed for one reason: misuse. What was happening was that any and all waste was being tossed into the bag, and that entire bin was then being thrown into the garbage. It was a treasure chest of everything that was not supposed to be there. And contamination is part of why Nimrith and I have returned 2 of the bins to make sure that 6 compost bins do not turn into 6 garbage cans. The ones that we do have are located in the student lounge, and the other is right through those doors in the cafeteria.
And for those of you still needing to complete the 30 hours of work or volunteer experience, there are a couple clubs in the school you can go to get some volunteer hours. One is Key Club, which meets every Thursday at lunch, and in Miss Pang's room, room 135. And in this club, you'll get a guaranteed 1 volunteer hour per week. You'll get half from attending the meeting and half from attending the weekly recycling that I mentioned before. Another one is Spirit Club, which meets every Wednesday in room 301, sorry. And in this club, you will get the chance to help with the Claremont Cycling Festival, the CC 350. And of course, there's Grad Exec, which meets every Tuesday in room 200. And you'll get to help and talk about all things grad. And you can attend these club meetings for more information about them.
Perfect. And speaking of Grad Exec, we are throwing a Spirit Week this coming week, starting on Tuesday, because we have Monday off. So Tuesday will be patterns. Wednesday, twins and triplet. Thursday, dress like a Claremont teacher. And Friday, the 22nd, will be pennies. And we know a few of you have varying opinions on Spirit Week. But if the past 3 years have taught us anything, it is that we don't know what will and won't happen in the future. This could be one of our last chances to come together as a grad class one final time before we go. And there is one thing we can decide here and now as a grad class: the cover page for the grad section of the yearbook. The theme this year is mythology, and I don't want to spoil too much, so here is one of the cover pages I made for student life. And I was making the grad page, the theme for that is Chinese mythology, and I was thinking, this isn't a Parker page, this is a grad page. So we are going to have a vote. Here is what is going to happen. There will be a QR code on the next slide, and you are allowed to take out your phones and your devices to scan it. But here is the cool part. Okay, those are the designs. You will get to see the live results as they come in on the screen. You will have about 1 minute to vote. All right, everyone get their phones out? Perfect. Perfect. All right. Do I need to slide? Yes. Perfect.
Look at all those phones at once. That's scary.
Perfect. Okay. All right. We are having some slow internet right now, but as you can see, it seems like the Phoenix is the winner. It's not it? Dragon? Oh, the dragon. I'm receiving different word from Liv there in the audience. The dragon seems to be the winner. Is that correct on your phones?
We'll see.
All right. What if I'll post the winner in the grad group chat later on because I can't tell just from the slow. Oh, there we go. You know, what can you do? So I'll post that in the group chat later on. If anyone isn't in it on Messenger, just come let me know and I'll add you right away. There we go. Thank you for listening to us today.
Nice work. That's awesome. Well done, you guys. Thank you very much. You got that, and you got this.
You set up your...
Yeah, I'll set it up.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. All right, we got a handful of slides. We're going to move through as quickly as possible. There's going to be tons of questions. So between Mr. Buckham and I, we will get moving. If Mr. Buckham, you could just put it up on to the next slide. But that was the grad class from last year. You've seen this slide. In fact, some of the information you're going to hear, you heard earlier in the year. So this is round 2 of our all things grad presentation. Okay, so the... Okay, here we go. We can see these slides. What we talked about last time was just another little reminder. All those are the themes we're going to move through here. This piece here about your grad check. How do you know if you're in a position to grad? I know if you are or you're not, because we can do an extract from the My Education system to see who does not have all the credits. And for example, if you have not completed the literacy, then you're not in a position to grad. Okay, but you're going to have that opportunity in a couple weeks because that's up and coming. Okay, so all things grad we're going to go through here. This checklist, this bottom corner, you need to be north of 80. We may sound like broken records on this, but if you are not sure if you are at that 80, you need to see myself, Mr. Buckham, Mr. Palma, Mrs. Gies, Mrs. O'Brien, because we'll open up My Ed and we'll do a check and do a quick check of your grad credits, okay? You need to. I'm going to talk more about that after. So that checklist is really important. You've seen these before. In fact, I believe with the report card that's going home, eventually you're going to get this. So if there's ever a report card in your 4 years at Claremont, you must pick up, it's this one. Because I will give you this document where you can go, great, or oh dear. Okay? And that's the truth. Okay, so please, you have to get your report card. We're going to attach a document that looks like that. It's your draft diploma. Okay? This piece here I'll talk a little bit about, but this is the literacy piece. Last year's grads didn't have to do it because of all things pandemic. This year's grads, you must do it. Okay? All right. Let's keep going here. This is the literacy numeracy piece. Okay. Mrs. O'Brien and on the PA system has been making reminders about literacy 12. You have to be paying attention because, for example, if you are in English right now, semester 2, you are scheduled to write the assessment. It'll be in the Learning Commons on the 26th or 27th. 25 is non-instructional day. So it's a 3-day weekend for you. There's a lot of shorter weeks coming up. So it's a 3-day weekend for you. You are either writing on the 26th or 27th. Those are Copernica days. We're doing long blocks. We have to do long blocks to get these scheduled in there. So it's 2 long blocks, block 1-3, block 2-4. We've done this before, and it's the purpose of getting these blocks in. Every school in Saanich does the long blocks, the high schools, when it comes to these literacy numeracy. Some of you also have to do a numeracy 10. And we know who you are because if we go back to this, some of you have this mark here not accounted for. Okay, so these literacy numeracy assessments are your ticket out the door for graduation. Okay, so we do need to be paying attention, and we have this opportunity to write, and then we have the next opportunity in June. Okay, we often discovering that more post-secondary schools want to know what you got on these assessments. So if you're leaving it until June, and you really need that assessment for a post-secondary, you could be in a little bit of trouble because time's running out. So we're trying to get these done in this round if we can understand why. Okay. I sure hope through your CLC you have created your BCE ID account. It is so you can go in and say, what did I get on that assessment? Well, you can log in and figure that out. Or if you want to go to a post-secondary, you want to go to Camosun, you want to go to Dalhousie, you want to go to McGill, you want to go to Okanagan College, you want to go to Denver, you point your transcript with this account to that school. So you don't have to mail it. It's electronically sent in real time. I know you know this. If you don't, I'm glad we're having this assembly. All right. This scholarship page, my goodness, when I'm thinking back to that slide that Parker talked about the 3 opportunities to gain 30 hours, I've written a ton of scholarship letters. So by the way, if yours are in the queue with me, some of you have asked for me to write, or Mr. Buckham, we'll do it. You just have to make sure you give us the deadline, because we have tons of letters to write. And if you leave it to the last minute, anything can happen. So thank you for those who've given me an advance warning to do a letter. That goes for any teacher as well. But what I've discovered is when I go through the applications and when I look at the scholarships, you know what they're asking for? What have you done in the community? So if you haven't done a little bit of recycling, if you haven't done a little bit of volunteering, if you haven't maybe assisted with some coaching, or if you haven't given back to community, you might as well not apply for some of those scholarships. But that's the theme that I recognize. So if you can think back to last year or even a couple of years ago where you were involved in volunteering, you've got to highlight that. That could give you a leg up on the opportunity for a $5,000 bill. I don't know. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, so what you do. Mr. Buckham, want to talk about this one? I can switch mics. Take that, I'll use this one.
CLC, you guys, there's some of you, there's basically a handful of you who are not in a CLC class but still need to finish up your capstone presentations. We're already in contact with you. If you're looking at me right now and saying, oh, I'm in that, and I haven't talked to Buckham or Marshall yet, please come and see us ASAP, because we only have about 9-10 weeks left. And while it seems like a long time, you guys, I hate to say this, it goes like that. And if you haven't felt it yet, you will start to feel it. So just make sure that you're on top of that, because it's another one of those, just like the literacy numeracy, it's one that isn't going away and it has to be done. Good news is, our last presentation day is on the 17th, so there is time to prepare. And the great news is that we actually have community members coming in again, because all the restrictions have been lifted, and that's why we do it. It's the experience for basically showcasing yourself to people you don't know. And I'm telling you, you're gonna have to do that lots when you're outside of this building, wherever you go, whatever you're looking for a job opportunity, even creating your own business. You're gonna have to talk and bring people into your organization. You're gonna have to have those discussions. So it's preparing for that. And if you have any questions at all, any worries and concerns, even if you're in a CLC class, come let us know, okay?
That's awesome. That's awesome. And if you show up to this in a jeans and a hoodie, I might send you home. You're going to a job interview. Treat it like a job interview. You come with something nice to wear. You're sitting in front of someone from community. You're going to talk about the capstone. We've actually had students get called the next day from employers saying, could you come work with me for me now? Okay, so think about that. We're bringing community members who are going to see you. So I want you to be mindful. That's a big day here when we can bring community back into the school.
And then a driving piece. We've done this a couple times for you this year, but I'm just going to remind you, the number of times I've been out there in the student lot. Number one, I'm seeing about like maybe close to half, maybe a little bit less than half that have the Claremont sticker on it. We have had a couple of accidents that have happened that we've had to deal with. Some after school, some during school time. It's going to continue to happen. So number one, safe driving habits is a big one. But get that sticker, go to the accounting office, pay the $2, fill out the form and give it to us so that you are registered to be here. And it's a big one just in terms of your guys' respect of everybody else. I had a police officer in the building not the other day, 2 days ago, and I get a report while he's sitting in my office that somebody's driving around with people on a car or hanging out the window. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. You're 3 months from being done. These are the things, you guys, that absolutely cannot happen. And if you think I'm being like, oh, give it a rest, Buckham, it's our last year. We have seen stuff, you guys, that you don't ever want to be a part of. So please, 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 enjoy your time, be respectful of the cars, and if that car is moving, you are not on top of it or hanging out of it in any way, shape, and form, and you're especially not speeding or not following the rules of the road, okay? It's a big one that we worry about every night. No joke.
It's a big deal. We're going to have a presentation later on about just a reminder of this for the grads, about the importance of safety in your vehicle. Alrighty. Okay, so now here starts the whoa. So we're going to leave all this information out. We're going to go through line by line, but I also want to introduce to you Mrs. Knapp. She's right here, Mrs. Knapp. If you could give everybody a wave. All things grad also comes to Mrs. Knapp. So if you have questions about all the information you're going to hear from here on in, she's also a wonderful source because she's created your homework. Sorry. She has created your homework package that is due next Friday. Okay, so what's due next Friday? Could you just hold up the visual of the package that is waiting for you outside of this Ridge Theater? We don't just storm out of here and go to the parking lot or go to your next class. We're going to have to give some time for you to pick up a package that has your name on it. It's called the Grad Package. You have to take this home. Not everything is electronic. This one has to be through paper. Okay, so in the Grad Package, you are going to tell us if you want to take part in the scavenger hunt. You're going to tell us if you're going to take part in the UVic ceremonies. Okay? Mr. Buckham's going to talk a little bit about that. We do have a rehearsal. Now look at this date. I know you're looking at your calendar and going, I'm not here. That's okay. In a grad class this size, not everybody makes the rehearsal. But it is important you get to the rehearsal because you know who you're sitting beside. You know how to march in. You know what the UVic auditorium looks like. Okay, so we do have a practice. So it's a morning assembly. We start the day here. We go there. So you're going to learn a little about that information. Look at this. There's tickets. There's tickets for the grad. Only 2 though. Okay, it only seats just close to 1,000 people. Okay, and we start with 2. We're hoping some of you could get 3, but we start with 2. Okay. The beauty of this one is it's going to be a little more robust live stream so that families can watch this live stream as well up at UVic, okay?
And actually on that note, just so you guys know, if you don't need 2 tickets, some would be like, what, really? But maybe you don't. You can actually select that you may just need 1. And then that extra ticket might be available for somebody else. Just note to self.
We have a parent executive team that's done an amazing job. There's going to be a dinner and dance. Mr. Buckham's going to talk about that. Okay? And the total cost for grad is somewhere around here. That's the reality, folks. That is reality, okay? And also when you think of photos and you think of dinner and you think of your shoes and your gown and your jacket and your pant, all that stuff, it does add up, okay? But grad's a big deal. It is a big deal. But that gives you a ballpark figure of how much it's going to cost. This is an important piece. Okay, the Google Classroom, majority of you are signed into that. If you're not signed into that, you're not going to be able to give us the photos. The photos are of you, back maybe the awkward days, back in middle school, maybe a baby photo. And who gets to watch those are your parents. So when we're waiting to get the ceremony at UVic started, there's a big screen and the baby photos and the middle school photos are looping. And if I was to sit there and go, oh, where's my son, where's my daughter, where's my son? Oh, they're not there. It's because you didn't decide to hand in a photo. So it's kind of awkward when your mom or dad go, oh, I didn't see your photo. Oh, I forgot. Mr. Westover told me, but I forgot. Okay, so this is just part of the pressure we're laying on you right now. You need to get these photos in. Bum, 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 bum. And the write-ups. Mr. Buckham, do you want to talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, so for the for the write-ups, you guys, the biggest thing is, I kind of have a copy here, so every Google Doc you've ever done, it's pretty simple. You've got your name and address and all the rest of it, but it'll ask for your PIN number, and then it will ask for 2 photos to be uploaded, just as Mr. Westaver were talking about, a baby photo, that adorable baby photo, and no joke, you guys, everybody's like, oh, it's awesome. I was like, they're so cute. Gotta love it. We record it all. It's great. But then the middle school photo as well, just to see, and they put them up side by side. It's huge. It's absolutely massive for your family, you guys. I know it might not be big for you, but it may be for you one day. And for your parents, I guarantee you it will be. So make sure that's done. And there's a write-up. And this is the one that's 250 words or less, and it is spoken as you cross the stage. Every one of you has an opportunity to cross the stage, and we time it so that the spoken word can be kind of just finished by the time you get through. get to shake Mr. Westhaver's hand and move through, and it's ceremonious. It's a big deal, okay? If you don't have a write-up, we're in trouble. We need to make sure that every single grad who's there, who's attending the ceremony, has a write-up, okay?
So it's your full name. You know, if you choose to have your middle name read out, okay, so first name, middle name, last name, would like to thank, is looking forward to, boom. And then there's a little bit of a handshake between Mr. Buckham, myself, Miss O'Brien, and then you go across the stage. So that's your moment of fame, and all the parents are there watching, okay? We're gonna practice this when we do go to UVic. So this is a lot of info in your package. Also, if you wish to have a speaking role, the valedictorian is a significant one. Normally the valedictorian is that person who has top academic marks, who is well respected by this grad class, and who can make a speech, a presentation in front of a large audience, and in that speech it resonates with every one of you. Okay, it's a message delivered about the grad class and moving on and some of the successes, but every one of you could relate. It's not a message or it's not a presentation to just my group of friends. It's for everybody. So it's one of the most challenging speeches to write, and it is put together often with the help of some teacher here in the school. Okay, so think about that piece. Masters of Ceremonies, normally it's 2 individuals. They're at the podium most of the time, and they keep the ceremony going. They introduce the next speaker, they thank the next speaker, maybe they tell a little bit of a story about Claremont and the journey, but it's part of keeping that evening going. And then, very unique to Claremont, is we have students volunteer to read out names. So as your peer is coming across the stage, one of you who's confident, 10 of you, about 10 of you, who can clearly articulate, probably better than me, clearly articulate the name of a peer and speak and read the little script of what they want said as they walk across the stage. Of course, we practice all of that, but it's something you can't screw up, sorry. Because if I'm sitting there listening for my daughter or my son's name, you better get it right. So I'm just putting this information in your head because these are very significant roles because this is a very, very formal assembly. All right, what's next?
Okay, so here we go. Grad day number 1. You may have heard some of this already. Some of you may have talked to some of our wonderful grad parents who are putting together lots of things. And by the way, I've seen some of you I saw some of you at the grad bottle drive the other weekend. There are other fundraisers coming up. Just remember that $195 could be like $350. I've heard of it in other schools being ridiculously high. That is coming down. We're trying to crunch that as much as we can for you guys. Please help your parents out, get involved, encourage fundraising, okay? Because it all adds to the benefit for your event and your overall cost. So first day, Monday, there's a scavenger hunt from 9 to 11. This has been really successful the last few years, and the cool part is, you guys, you get to sign up in teams. I believe it's up to a maximum of 5 people. You could have you could all be wearing a color, you could all have a theme, and it's kind of neat because we're going around the community. Obviously, we're being respectful, but we're competing against each other. We're going to different challenges in different spots. It's kind of like an amazing race, but it's all within our community. And it only goes for a couple hours. And in the end, this is one of those ones where it's a quick, fun thing where we can all come together. You can select to be a part of this, but we're hoping that everybody will, and especially when it's nice outside. And we're in those last 3 days of school, you guys, and obviously there's still work going on in the school, but you guys, it's a special thing for you to be able to do. And we found that it was really neat to see all you together, getting lots of cool pictures, and some of you sprinting between spots is pretty amazing to see all the talents, because it's not just about athleticism. There's lots of things, lots of challenges at each station. I think there's 6 stations around the community. So lots of parents are working hard and getting that ready for you, which is great. And then this dinner dance has been a long time coming, not gonna lie. 2 years of not being able to do anything in the community, it's been tough. But here it is. We're finally here, and I think a majority of you are like, yes, this is awesome. This is what we wanted. Just remember, we got the Grand Pacific booked. It is a great location right down the water, and I'm guessing, because you can see the difference between the start times. There's 9 to 11, and then there's 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. There's lots of time in between these two to get a little bit of a rest, food, and then probably get ready to go, get all dolled up. And likely, because this Grand Pacific is only steps from the legislature building, I'm betting that families, or you probably would organize it on your own, there's nothing organized from the school, but you'll probably go and take those pictures that are pretty famous, go to legislature, take your picture, and then get in, drop yourself off here. Look at that second one though, it says organize, drop off, and pick up. This is not an event that you can drive to and drive away from. There are many reasons for that, and I apologize, but if you ask, the answer is no. It is come, get dropped off, enjoy the heck out of yourself, and it's basically the last time really to hang out with everybody. Have fun. There's the DJ and dancing. Casino Royale will be awesome. And we get a fabulous location. There'll be lots of time for pictures in there as well. We're making sure there's a photo booth person there, getting the little strips you can take with you. And then we're going to try for actually an entire group photo on the balcony of that place. We're going to see if we can do it. So lots of fun things will happen there, but the key is you are actually there for the entire time. We respect the hotel. You actually have to walk like in and around the lobby sometimes. They don't have back like areas. You kind of have to go from one room to the other in certain cases. So we're going to respect the heck out of that hotel. We're not going to be going up and down elevators. Ha ha ha, not happening. But we'll enjoy our time together, okay? It'll be lots of fun things to do. And the cost of that $195, $140 is specifically for this dinner dance, okay? I will highlight one more thing though. This actually is optional. If you wanted to choose to not go, that is absolutely your right, but I hope you do. I hope we're all there because it's been created for you. It should be a good time. Second day. We have something that's very unique too, and we've done it the last couple of years, and staff really appreciate it. I've had over like 20, 25 people ask, are we doing that again? And the answer is yes. What you're going to do is on this day, this is the more formalized day, and the cool part is you get to dress up a second time. We split it for a reason. We're not doing this all on one day like some other schools are, because it's a long, long day. So we try and split it up, and what you've got is little in the morning. It's actually more so afternoon. We'll start the walk through at 12:30, and we'll probably finish around 2:15. And the idea being is we're going to sign up in groups of about 100 of you. It's going to be a Google sign up, so you can sign up with who you like. And then we're literally going to, in succession, walk through this building one last time. You're going to be all dressed up. We have a little route for you to take, and there'll be lots of staff along the route cheering you on. And then at the very end, there's opportunities to take photos with friends, photos with staff, say goodbye. I don't know, I actually feel like there's more tears at that event than there is at this event. Because in the end, you guys have made some fairly significant relationships with people here. Some people have really helped you out. And you're celebrating with each other. And that's very, very cool. So we're trying to extend that and make sure you have multiple opportunities. Okay, so there's that. And then when that's done, however you want to get, you've probably got rides or limos or cars or whatever you're doing, going together, but you're going to make your way to UVic, and this is super important. It says that it's 5:30 to 7:45, but that's not for you. You are going to show up at 4:45 sharp, because there is going to be an entire photo of all of you that's pretty famous. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the photos that are on the walls, anytime a parent comes into this building, where's the first place they go? Hey, check this out. Hey, here, this is me right here. This is me in my year. You could be doing that 30 years from now. It is a big deal. It's very cool, and we'll get that overall picture of all of you guys all dressed up. It's always amazing to see. Then, when that photo happens at 5, we'll kind of make our way around the building. Everybody else will be flowing in, and we'll get started, I believe, and Miss Knapp will be the first one to tell you. This ceremony starts at 5:30, whether you like it or not, and away we go. It's it's formal, it's exact, and it should be also enjoyable, okay? I guess those are the 2 days. So you got 2 events on each day. You've got a day in between to rest, which is big. Any questions so far at all? Anything that doesn't make sense? Okay, and again, Miss G. Oh, you absolutely can.
I've had lots of questions about what do I wear on each day. So I think what we want to encourage you to do is you've got a nice dress, you've got a nice suit, whatever you're wearing, wear it on both days. So wear it to the dinner dance on Monday, and then wear it again on Wednesday. So you get 2 uses out of it. Kind of nice. People that ordered a gown, they should be coming soon. This is totally optional. just not that many. So we want to encourage you to wear your fancies on both days. And lots of people have been asking me, I didn't know about the grad gown thing, can I still get one? No, because the order's done, sorry. Everybody's gonna get a cap in your little swag bag, and so everyone will have that for cute little photos and whatnot, but it's too late for the gowns. I just wanted to say really quick, if you're still not on the Google Classroom, I have the code, come see me. I will stand right here after this assembly, because there's gonna be this info on the Google Classroom, and if you're not on there, you're not there. So
Yep.
I have the code, come see me.
Thank you.
And please don't always rely on your grad Facebook account. I don't know if one exists. That has some information. It doesn't have this kind of information. It's key, okay? We've also had students not make this photo because how they got to UVic, they got delayed buying a ticket. They got delayed because of traffic. They got delayed because of the limo. Oh, well, it's too bad. You're not in the photo. And it's kind of awkward when you do come back and go, oh, I was not here. I was late. So this is so tight. We've added 15 minutes to this ceremony. And usually it's 2 hours. It's usually 90 degrees outside as well. So we want to get this complete in 2 hours so that we can get on with the day. All right? All right, this is tons of information. We're coming back to this. Here we go. Another reminder. This package you will get is due next Friday. Okay? There will be a rehearsal. If you have a field trip booked and you're not here, that's okay. That's okay. On that rehearsal date, for some of you, you may want to bring the shoes you would be wearing with your outfit if you think it's going to be a challenge, because then you'll get to get a sense of the stairs, how steep they are. Okay, so you may want to wear your shoes. Just that's a common practice. Once again, 2 tickets. Here we go. I never talked about dates. We, now that some restrictions have been lessened, there is an opportunity for dates to come. I'm pretty sure your mom and dad would take a ticket over your date. Okay, just saying. Your date is welcome to come to the dinner and dance. Okay? Normally in a grad class this size, it translates to about 20 or 25. Okay? They also would have to pay that $140. Okay? That $140 cannot be paid online. Everything else can be, but because they're not a student at Claremont, we can't pay for your date online. So it's a separate payment that is an application, because I want to know who your date is. So I have to know who's coming, because for liability reasons, because it's like they're joining our field trip. So I need to know who they are, who their contacts are, okay? And if they are somebody that, if they are somebody, your date who I have some questions for, I'll ask those questions, okay? I've also seen, yes, my date's coming, 2 weeks before grad, we broke up. And that happens, okay? Now you're stuck with a date ticket and no date. No, you cannot scalp it. You can't scalp it. I get the ticket back and we would give you your money back, because often there could be a bit of a wait list for dates. Sometimes there is. Now, the reason why I'm kind of hanging up here on the date scenes is because the hotel has a capacity as well. So we're trying to stay within 350. I said we have a grad class of 308, 310. We're trying to stay under the 350 mark. Okay? I'm totally respectful, and I know dates are gonna break off. They do. So that's why we leave it. We leave it a little bit to the end. But pay now, secure the ticket, and then what we'll do is we'll hold it, and if something changes, you and I will have that conversation. Okay? You can't scalp that ticket.
On that note, Mr. Westhaver, just the whole, I put this in there and that's actually not correct. I think Mrs. Knapp is going to look at me and say, they don't go the extras. So your 2 tickets that you're allowed to get for your family or whoever's going to go, your ticket is obviously in that cost. But the extras, it is something where it is, it's a draw, correct?
No.
Wrong. Perfect.
We haven't done this for 2 years, so, or if there is any extra tickets available, we work with UVic and determine how many tickets are gonna be available
Okay.
as extras to the grad sooner everybody gets the paperwork turned in, the sooner we're gonna know how many tickets we have.
And actually, on that note, this is the other thing, and I do know this. The faster your paperwork comes in, you don't have to wait till Friday. You can give it to us on Tuesday. It gives you a better chance of getting better seats at UVic. Is that correct?
So UVic does all the tickets, and so the first paperwork in gets the best available seats. Now, all of the seats at UVic Auditorium are
really good.
They all have great sound, they all have great visuals, but, you know, those second, third row seats, those are gonna be the ones that go first.
Okay.
So first
Okay.
paperwork in gets the best available.
Do not contact UVic. You don't need to phone UVic box office. You don't need to do that. So once again, the sooner your paperwork's in, date stamped, you will get the better tickets for your family.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and now the snag list, students not able to grad. Okay, we talked about this earlier. If you're not sure, you need to see one of us, okay? And if you are, if we're rolling into May, and I know you are not in a position to grad, you and I will have a conversation. And I will need to get signed by you a contract as to when not think, when you know you will finish. And often we get hooked up on sides courses because sides is open 24, like it's open 12 months of the year. It's continuous schooling. So if you were a little bit late in starting a sides course and you know, yeah, I'm going to need at least part of month of July or even part of August, you can still take part in all of this. You will still be recognized as a grad. You will just not get your dogwood until the ministry decides they're going to process it, and it could be the fall, which could mess you up for any applications to post-secondary. So just be forewarned about that. Do not let the sides course trip you up. This is a great long weekend to hammer off some of that material. Get this sides course done, because if I look at your onward to 80 and beyond, and you're only 75% the way through your coursework, or only 75% of the way through, like, I hope your parents know that, you know, you're crossing that stage, but you haven't graduated. Okay, that's just, I want that playing in the back of your mind. Okay, this is crunch time. These long weekends that you're going to experience is not a time just to take it easy. If you're working on a sides course, get her done. Okay? I talked about these. Oh, the one other piece, there's always some musical performance, because to sit there and to go through all 310 grads in one fell swoop, no. We break it up. We break up the ceremony. So we often have some musical performers. So there's an application process, there's an audition, and that'll take part on these days here. All of this is in the package. This is in the package. This is repetition, folks.
And guess what? Why is it repetition? Just giving you guys the best chance to say, okay, I know exactly what I need to do when I walk out of here. And let me be super clear. We got some volunteers who will be at tables just outside the door there and just outside the door here. And Miss Knapp, we're going, is it A to L one side? And so last name, A to L, you're going to go this way when we say, and you're actually going to pick up your grad package. It has your name on it. If we end up with a bunch of grad packages at the end and we got all these names, what do we know? We know you weren't here. So then we communicate with those who weren't here, okay? We absolutely have to have you all make sure you get your package. And I'm going to make this real clear. Miss Knapp is so organized, she's got 2 sets of things, and I can't grab both at the same time. But this one is the one that you return. All of your answers, I will be going to this. This is my payment form. This is my application for a grad date. And this is an information sheet you get to keep. Your parents get to keep. So you can check it all out, okay? So it's only these forms that come back to us, and obviously the Google Doc that has to be completed, okay?
Also, there is an award. It's called the Cheryl Arnold Award, and you as a grad class get to select. Every one of your name is in that package. You would select the recipient of the award, the individual in this grad class that represents these qualities. So just think about that in the next week. Who would be somebody, and then that person, we recognize them at the ceremony that they've won that award, or at the award ceremony, okay? That is a ton of information, I know it is. Is there any questions that we could, yes, at the top, yes.
Do parents select seats for the ceremony at UVic, or are they assigned?
They will be assigned. The tickets will be assigned. They'll be just given to them. They'll be assigned based on when your homework came in.
Yes.
Okay?
And with the tickets, if you need your tickets separated, if you have family members that won't sit together, put down that you put separated. If you have mobility, that somebody's in a wheelchair, all the instructions are on the ticket sheet. And the tickets get emailed to the grad, to your school email account. So they don't get emailed to a parent, it's emailed to you and then you give it to the parent.
At the back and then over to Tias. Yep.
With the extra tickets, do we ask first them once we know how many there are, or should we ask with the fact?
Good question.
Yeah.
So the idea being, the question is do you put it down that you want an extra ticket first, or do you wait until all those tickets have been organized and then we find out how many are left?
Yes.
Yeah, second
We
piece.
find out how many are left, and then you cut, once we know, we'll give you the process, whether it be contact you.
That's why this homework is so critical. If you delay a process by not getting in on the 21st, we don't know how many tickets are available because some of you may not be going to this ceremony. We know that. In a grad class this size, there are some students, no, I've got commitments, I've got to be there here by July 1st, I got to go. Okay, you're not taking part in grad, and that's fine, that happens. Okay, Matthias. You're getting a swag bag, okay? Yeah, you're getting a swag bag, and that's the parents doing. Okay, the parents are fundraising, part of their fundraising is to make sure you walk out with a small gift. Question here, yep. Yep.
Getting an extra ticket, would there be assistance of that person would sit with one of your parents, or would they have?
No, if you're getting, say, the third ticket, they may not be as the family. Okay? All right. Yes? Yes? No, we would know, but the day before the grad rehearsal, posted outside the office will be your name as who's standing beside you, left or right side, before you go into the UVic auditorium. So you're going to know where you stand in relation to somebody in this grad class. Okay, we organize that. It is a bus trip to UVic, maybe your last school bus ride. Okay, we bus you to UVic, we bus you back. So your teachers know that those 2 blocks, you're on a field trip with us. Okay.
Okay, guys, I don't know if there's